Welcome to Rally 101. In this video, we're going to talk you through how the controls inside the Hyundai i20N Rally 2 car work and the information that we get on the dashboard. So we're sitting here in the cockpit of the Hyundai i20N Rally 2 car, and let's start by going through the controls that are accessible to me as a driver here in front of me on the steering wheel. Going through top to bottom, over on the right hand side here, a toggle switch with the different settings for the lights, turning them on and off, automatically dimming the displays as well. Next to it we have the toggle for the engine maps. On here we have 4 different options of the different engine mapping that we want to run once we're in stage mode. On the left side toggle, this adjusts the boost settings that we want to pre-select once we're in stage mode. And then another little toggle here with our thumb is to turn the wipers on and off, intermediate, fast, super fast. In the middle we have our left and right indicators, starter button, and then down the right hand side here we have some small buttons to flash the lights. We have the shift adjustment, which pre-selects of what gear shifting mapping that we want to use in the car. On the left hand side we have the launch button, which we use to activate the launch along with the engine maps. We have the RPM button, which allows us to preset what RPM we want the launch to be at. And down the bottom we have 2 little buttons, one for the horn and the other one for what we call the alarm, which clears any alarms that might come up on the displays at any stage. On the back of the steering wheel we have a little toggle here, which again is a wash wipe, so it's a quick simple wipe for any small instances during a stage where you just need to quickly clean the screen. Everything's on a quick release setting here on the back to pull it off. So moving on from the steering wheel, we see here in the middle of the car the center console panel, and this is a control panel that is often used by the co-driver or something we use to try and overcome any technical difficulties. So starting at the top of the control panel we have our main switch for the whole car, and it is the main switch. This is what switches on the power to every part of the car. Beside this we have the toggle switch, which the co-driver uses to toggle through the various different pages that we have on the main car dash. So here on the landing page we have all the basic information needed, such as all the engine parameters, gears, speed, distance and time. But from here we can access a lot more information, which is often done by the co-driver, such as a different layout of the same screen with a lot of the icons along the bottom that gives you information of when things are turned on in the car. Here we have a minimum and maximum page, which gives us all the basic parameters around what the car's been doing throughout a stage. Here we have our brake, throttle and steering page, which is again giving us our brake pressures, our steering angles and our throttle pedal sensor. Here is a bit of a diagnostic page, which is breaking down some of the pressures across the fuel rail, water pressure, water pump pressure, oil pressure, and something that we use if we're trying to troubleshoot any issues. Here we have the fuel and gearbox page. So over here we've got a lot of the temperature readings for the gearbox and differentials, and here we have a lot of our fuel sensors such as fuel level, fuel usage and the fuel pump voltage. Here this is the power box page. This is something that is used by the engineers to make sure everything's running as it should be within the car. And then we have a diagnostic page, which is a very nice simple layout with a green box indicating that everything with that part of the car is working correctly. If we have a red box anywhere, it means there's an issue, and it means that we can hone in very quickly and precisely on what an issue might be. Here on the control panel we have various different buttons that we can use, and to run through these one by one, starting in the top right hand corner we have the fuel pump button. This is basically a manual override if we need to switch on or off the fuel pumps, but obviously they're automatically running in the car. We have the hazard lights. We have the ignition button, which we use to help start the car and to help prime the oil pressure. We also use this to turn the car off. We have the heated screen, which we turn on in wet or cold conditions to prevent the window from misting up. But we also have the window demister that we can use in combination with the heated screen. We have a fuel reset button, which the co-driver will use to reset the amount of fuel that's been used on the dash. We have a manual override on the water pump, again something that often we have to use, and a manual override on the rear diff fan. Here we have a trip reset, which the co-driver will use to reset the trip meter when we get to different points within the stage or the rally. Here we have a manual override on the water fan, again something that's automatically running in the car. We have a pop-off reset, so if for some instances we're having too many pop-offs in the stages, which will come up on the dash, we want to reset that warning to reset it back to 0. Here we have some of our light switches, which works in conjunction with the lights on the steering wheel. And down on the bottom left we have a PDU reset, which is a worst case scenario where we may have an electrical problem in the car and we need to reset the PDU to make everything operational again. And then on the bottom of the panel here we have our fire extinguisher button, which hopefully we never have to use, but in case of fire and we need to extinguish it using the onboard system, we flick up this and turn on the toggle. And then right on the back of the panel we have 2 switches which are for use in emergency in case something on the steering wheel has failed. We have an emergency starter button, and we also have an emergency map selection button to allow us to put it in and out of stage mode. So we're now sitting here on the co-driver side, and I must say I'm a little bit uncomfortable on the side. It's not somewhere I normally sit. But anyway, in our case, this is normally where John's sitting. He's a very busy man here, reading the pace notes, but also taking control over some of the parameters within the car, such as fuel usage, and using this dashboard in the middle of the car to give him the information that he needs during a rally. While he's here busy with his hands and his pace notes, he's got some controls that he can use at his feet during the stages to help make his job easier. So you can see here down on the foot plate, 3 main buttons. One is the washer. So if we've gone through a puddle or a mud and you can see that the driver is busy, he can help out and actually wipe the window for the driver. In the center here we have what we call the timer button. So on the dash we have a timer. He can simply pause it, reset, and start the timer. The third button on the left side is the trip button. This is what John will use to zero the trip meter for the road sections. So that was my guide to all the controls, buttons and dashboards inside the Hyundai i20N Rally 2 car. For more videos like this, make sure you check out the rest of the Rally 101 series. And if you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe.